This is a very important question, and I'm glad you brought it up because it is not a fine distinction between adult. It's like night and day between adult and pediatric dentition here. And I know that's what you meant. I'll say to that, were this to be, forget about an adult, were it to be a 14-year-old, I'd be more cautious. If it were a 30-year-old, I could no longer feel like I could do it. If you do this for a 30-year-old, you're probably going to have gingival recession. And so the way I would phrase it, Elena, is at our 7, 8, and 9-year-olds, we are allowing ourselves without any reservations or hesitation to recapture what we feel ought to be the geometry of the arch. And if I had to really describe what we do, it's two things. And those are the two most fundamental things we do is generate space and recapture the ideal geometries of the arches in 3D. Those are the two most important things that we do. So your question is a good question. What happens to an adult tooth when you bring the torque? Now, mind you, the 30 degrees of which we speak, it's not 30 degrees far off ideal, obviously, right? It's 30 degrees ahead of degrees retracted. But if it's an adult, and this is really the point you're making, this is the point I want to emphasize. If it's an adult tooth, it doesn't matter that it's been retracted 20 degrees. You can't bring it forward anyway. It's stuck there now. To bring it forward more than 5 degrees is putting your perio at jeopardy. But when you have a child that's 20 degrees retruded and you fix them, let me put it to you this way. I had a friend who was over for a visit one time. 6-year-old falls on the floor, okay, and the premaxilla, the entire front portion of the maxilla cracks on the marble floor and it's like in my hands hanging, okay? And it's dished in. And I take it and I repositioned it with my fingers and put it back in its proper position and it healed. And everything in that particular case, thankfully, was perfectly fine going forward. And then I was shocked. This was years ago. And then years later, she didn't even need ortho. It was like, it's always those kids, like her teeth came in perfect. The point is that it's so pliable at 7, 6, 7, and 8 years old that these movements are considered appropriate. So it's a very important question. On an adult, you cannot do it. On an adolescent, you become very apprehensive. On a child with timely treatment, you ought to do it because you are not going to get any gingival recession. Everything's way too young. Everything's way too developed. And now you have, for the exact reason that you're saying, now is your only opportunity to do it orthopedically in such an exquisite and such a profound, balanced way. So that is really the point. So yeah, excellent question. Excellent point.